Okay, so a friend of mine came around the other day and I knew that she was coming, but you know when you do that thing when you know that somebody's coming but you start doing odd things like checking on the ducklings, and then all of a sudden it's 2 minutes before that person arrives and you have nothing to feed them. That was the situation. Now this said person, hi Kirsty, she is also incredibly healthy. So I'm not about to just, pull out a bag of chips and say there's lunch. But this is just about as easy as pulling out a bag of chips and saying there's lunch. It's just going to taste a little bit better and be a bit better for you. I don't know how many people know this, because when I told my mum that there are certain puff pastries that are vegan, she went, "What?" Well, she didn't quite say it like that. She just went, "I didn't know that." So there are certain puff pastries that don't have any animal products in them. Now, if I was to do this and I had longer than 5 minutes, then yes, I'd make my own pastry, because we all know that it's really great if you can make your own pastry and you can do it with lots of whole food flours and make it quite an extraordinary thing. It's the fast part that we're interested in, remember. So we're going with the easy, no fuss. So I've gone with a pre-bought puff pastry, thawed that out in the refrigerator. I actually think that's the easiest way to do it. I don't know how you do that, but I find that if I try and do it too fast, it gets kind of crispy around the edges and then it's still frozen in the middle. So overnight in the fridge, done. I've got a mix of spinach and kale, and I'm just going to really quickly, we're going to hear that word a lot, aren't we? Really quickly throw this around in a pan with some olive oil, and if you wanted to, put garlic in there, whatever herbs you have on hand, make sure it's well seasoned, and then we're going to wrap it up in pastry, because everything tastes better when it's wrapped in pastry, let's be honest. But there's a cute little technique that I want to show you with the pastry that kind of makes it look a little bit fancier than it actually is. So throw that all in there, and we'll get to that in a sec. It's amazing how much greens shrink down. So you might think that this looks like an extraordinary amount of green vegetable, but believe me, it will go down into nothing. For anyone who's a chef, please don't comment on my knife skills. Look, I said quickly, so that's the angle here. Right, see, done. Okay, let me melt that down quickly. Done diddly umptious. Got some salt, yes. At this stage, if you wanted to add some nutmeg in there, or you wanted to add some Indian-based spice in there, or you wanted to do, I don't know, sumac or something like that, you can really go for it. Okay, so well seasoned and still hot, we're just going to make kind of a little, I was going to say sausage. That would be weird. It's like a little run, a green run of spinach here. Go back there, buddy. This is going to cook a little bit more in the oven too, remember, so don't get too freaked out if you undercook the spinach a little bit. You've probably noticed that I'm not just tipping it on there, because I want to leave some of the excess water in the pan so that it's not soggy. We don't want soggy. Now, cheese. Cheese. Oh look, I'm just going to do it with my fingers because you can cope with that. This is one of the cheeses that I've been making, but of course you can use any kind of cheese or nut or chickpea, whatever takes your fancy. I'm just going to crumble some of that in there. Nobody wants to skimp on cheese. It's not right. Okay, half a cheese, that's okay. Now, just try and neaten the edges a little bit quickly. Okay, the technique with this is that we're going to make almost little kind of side straps, if you like. And the idea is that you try and make them straight as well. That's the idea. So basically, once you get to the end of your run of spinach, then you stop, because that's going to fold in and tuck the spinach in at either end. Do your best to get these kind of lined up, but you know what? The world's not going to stop turning if you don't. You'll still be able to put together something quite sweet. None of this is making sense yet, but it will. Or maybe you've figured this out. Now I'm just going to cut this, because I like pastry, but you don't want that whole mouthful of doubled up pastry. Okay. So then tuck that over and bring that around, and then lift up each one of these and pull it over. See where I'm going with this? Really, the only thing that I think you need to be aware of is to overlap the previous fold, if you know what I mean. So when that one's sitting there, you want to overlap it, the edge of it, the end of it, with the next strap, and so on and so forth. Because so on and so forth is in every recipe. So we're getting to the end. I need to shape this as well. You've probably got the gist that my knives aren't outrageously sharp, or I would have sliced my finger off, right? Right, I'll just take that off as well. Oil. Now, you can pop whatever you like on top, seeds, some spices, or even just do some salt. But my mum made me some dukkha recently, and it is good stuff. So I'm just going to pop some of that over the top. It's got fennel and coriander and done. Ready for the oven. Let's give that 15 minutes and we can get ourselves a little something something. Right, so the something something's been done. Let's get that little pastry out. Actually, it's not so little, is it? Look at that. It's the fanciest pasty you've ever made. But I think that that's a great idea, because it means that you can have something really quickly, but it's not health food, but it's a heck of a lot healthier than some of the stuff you might see wrapped in pastry. And it is without animal products, so that if that's something that's important to you, then you've kind of ticked all boxes there. I love having this with my dad's sauce, homemade tomato sauce. You can't beat it. Although when I was a kid, I just used to ask for the store-bought stuff. I feel bad about that now. But that goes really beautifully with this, or throw a salad with it, or whatever you like. But that can also be just portioned off, popped in the freezer. You can see how this is going to just work into your life. And whatever you want to put in the middle, remember, everything tastes better wrapped in pastry. Oh, you know what you should do now? Subscribe.